Well, hey folks, listen, as life goes on, as you travel, do other things, your game fluctuates up and down as far as distance, how you're throwing the disc. Are you getting more distance or are you getting less distance? So there's always a good time, anytime is really a good time to get out in the field and figure out the distances of your discs. And so I've been traveling a lot, I'm kind of beat up and tired, and I want to know kind of where my distances are for each of my shots, because I noticed while I was in Norway, I was actually throwing farther than I thought on some of the shots, and I thought, hey, now's a good time to come back out. I'm back in the States. Let's get on the football field and let's see how we do. And we're going to do it right after the intro. Okay, so here's one of my favorite spots to practice, and especially to get down my distances, because I've got a football field laid out. I don't have to use a rangefinder, U-disc, or anything like that. I just throw from the goal line out, and I have to do a little math to figure out yards/feet, but otherwise, it's a great way to just, I'm using the hash marks right down the right side here to keep it on a nice line, so I can also see not only distance, but my flight lines. And I think it's a really helpful thing to do to just keep an eye and refresher on how your distances are. And then I just kind of plug those in to my phone, which I realize I just left in the car. So I'm gonna go get it, and then we'll start throwing. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw some just mid-ranges and some putters to get warmed up. And then we'll kind of figure out how I'm feeling, and then we'll throw from there. I'm not gonna try to kill it, I'm just trying to throw it and get the arm ready. Work on driving through. And this is where I'm throwing my bag, because I want to register and count and measure each of the discs in my bag, because this is my playing bag, so I want to know how far I throw each of these discs. This is not grab all your discs, it's the ones you're going to be leaning on to play on. You want to know what your distances are on them. We currently have about a 10-mile-an-hour headwind. It goes up and down about 5 to 10 miles an hour, but it's coming right at us. And see, I'm just trying to throw it right down the line. Can you tell that's an entropy? All right, I'm gonna go get those and then we'll try it again. Okay, so even that warm-up, just throwing pretty neutral, pretty moderate, gave me some data points to know, okay, yeah, this is kind of the distances just when I'm starting out or whatever. I'm not fully warmed up, and I'm gonna take that in consideration. When I put in these numbers, I'm gonna put a little note going, okay, it was literally just, I got out here, I threw a couple, and I threw. Because as you play during the day, hopefully your back's gonna warm up, you're gonna get a little bit longer, and so you need to factor that in, is like, okay, I'm throwing these dead cold. And so that's gonna have an influence on how far I can throw it. So, all right, so now, I'm also going to, any outliers where I just did a bad throw, I just won't count those. But I'm just gonna try to send these. I am not gonna go full max distance. This is my regular throws with these. Does that make sense? I could try to go, ooh, how can I crunch these as far as I possibly can? That's good to know, but right now I just wanna set that. This is my base level of where this wants to go. Because that's the most important thing, is when I'm playing around, most of the time I'm just wanting to place it, I'm wanting to throw it, my normal throw. Pretty good. That wind is eating it a little. I could have thrown that a little higher, but not bad. That was my berg. Now I'm going to throw the range. Got that up a little higher, so it's going to carry a little bit further. But those are good average throws for those. Now we'll go to the spin, which is going to be understable. By the way, black in the summer, not great, because this thing is hot. So with this headwind, it's going to want to flip even more. So I'm going to put this on hyzer. And then let it just drag back around a little bit. Yep. Bounced off the range over there. All right, now we'll do the proxy. I pulled that little right And I could have gotten that a little higher, so I could actually get that a little bit farther. That wasn't the best throw. All right, now we got the Envy. A little higher, that wind's gonna hold it up a little bit and it's gonna fade at the end a little harder. Still not a bad throw, good distance. All right, now the Entropy. Yep, I needed to give it a little more anhyzer so it would carry a little more, but that's a good distance for that normal fade off shot. Let's face it, I'm trying to both do this and take consideration of this, so I'm trying to go a little bit fast. You take your time, make good shots. Oh, I forgot my pig's a little beat up, but that's gonna fight back. That's all right. All right, now a couple mid-ranges. This is the flippy uplink, so I'm gonna put it on hyzer. Just let it draw back. Yep. All right, my torpedo. And please hear me when I say these are, I'm trying to throw smooth, not power, smooth. I faded that one off a little bit with that. That's a new hex. Not my best throw there. All right, let's try the reactor. Left my pyro in the car, but here's the deflector. And this is a good thing for the deflector because it's so overstable. I need to see how far I can throw it. All right, so that's good to start with just the putters and the mid-ranges. Let's take a break, go grab them, see how they do. You know I love when I do a whole spiel, spend about 10 minutes talking to the camera, realize I didn't hit record. So let's do that again. Come on, shall we? So one of the great things about doing something out here is that not only do you figure out distances, but kind of the flight paths of these discs. Because I'm trying to throw right down the line here, where they land right and left will give me an indicator of their stability, unless I do some funky shots, like I overcooked that one over there, the proxy, I turned over too much. But so the rest of them, like I have the berg right here and the range a little bit farther to the right. And so that's perfect for how they fly. You know, the berg's a little bit shorter, a little bit more stable, whereas the range carries a little bit farther and goes off to the right. And I broke my wrist, my strap on my watch. But so now we can come along, and so throwing from the goal line, I'm at the 50-yard line, 40-yard line. We're coming up here, we're at 35. So I got to do my math. So 50 is 150, then we've got 60. The 30-yard line is 70, which is 210. So I'm just a little short. So the berg right here is just before, it's about 200. But then everything else, like my other putters, are sitting at 75. So we're at about 225 right here, which is where I kind of think of my putters when I'm not trying to push them extra far. The berg, I can probably, if I throw it a little bit better, I can get up to that. But that's kind of the limits of what I want to be throwing the berg. But then I've got, here's my entropy. I'm sorry, here's my deflector. You see how much it peeled out. But we're at 60, 70, 80. So we're at right about 240, and that's 250 there. But then my mid-ranges are all coming out here, averaging about 270. Because that 10-yard line is 270, and they're all sitting right here. Now what's funny is the Envy got almost all the way up here. It's about 265. And that's the thing about these MVP putters. If you get them right, they can go. So I didn't throw a great shot back there with the proxy, and it got to 225, but when you get a nice smooth shot, they'll carry a little extra. But the mid-ranges are all sitting about 270. So that's giving me a good base for these throws. Now granted, what I want to do, what I should do, what you should do is throw these multiple times so that you don't get the outlier. You get a good base, a good, what's a word? Control group, so you know kind of, okay, this wasn't an outlier, this is where I'm normally throwing it. But I'm also keeping in mind that this is right out of the car. These are, I can once I warm up, I can throw a little bit further. What was happening in Norway, I think I was warmed up, I was excited about being out there, and my mid-range, I had a J out there that I was throwing, and I was thinking 300 is about the distance I want to throw that mid-range on these holes, and I kept throwing farther. Now granted, I can throw it farther if I push it, but I was thinking 300 is my normal smooth shot with the mid-range, and it kept going a little farther, and that's like, I need to come out here and just see how I'm doing. I was hoping that maybe I got bit by a spider or something like that, and suddenly my distances were a little farther, but no, I think these are pretty generally right where I tend to throw these discs. Well, now I'm gonna pick these up and we're gonna go throw the distance drivers and the fairway drivers. Another thing to think about is you wanna add your notes. What's the wind doing? Are you throwing into a headwind, etc.? Because that makes a difference. You know, this is my readings and my distances throwing into about a 10-mile-an-hour headwind. So that's going to make a difference. And so you're just collecting information. You're figuring out how you do in the different elements, circumstances, so that, as they say back in the day at Schoolhouse Rock, knowledge is power. Okay. A couple other things to think about is, first of all, make sure to count your discs before you throw so that you make sure you get them all. Even on a football field, it's easy to lose one that gets over and hides on one of the numbers or something like that. So I've lost them out here. The second thing is to do this as much as you can, just like a little check-in. You know, ideally I'd spend a good bit of time out here, but let's face it, it's Friday, it's ultimate day, I've got a lot to do, and if you practice on a turf field like this, it gets hot really quick, and I'm in Alabama in the summer. So this is more kind of a throw and go kind of situation. Plus, I'm trying to do it for you, so this is not gonna be my full test, but this is kind of a check-in to see how I'm doing. It also will let me know if I'm throwing shorter or longer. Maybe there's some form issues going on there. Now we're gonna throw the fairway and the distance drivers. Now, once again, I'm not trying to go max distance here. I'm trying to go normal throw. I'm trying to be smooth and just see the flight and see the distances there. Now, unfortunately, there's only one other person that showed up after I got here, and he is now working out right in the back there. So if I really get a hold of some of these at the end, I've got to watch out and not hit them. Terrible, terrible problem. All right, I'm starting with the more overstable stuff. So I'm going with the resistor here. Just a nice smooth, throw it out there, see how it would do if I was trying to throw that for a nice tunnel shot, a touch shot. I'm not trying to rip these. All right, now my overstable boss. This is more my utility disc. Send it out, let it crash back. I'll just put this guy in the bag, a little Leopard 3. Let's see how this does. I thought it'd pop up a little bit more, but it's okay. It's a nice glide. So from end zone to end zone, it's 300 feet. So anything past that kind of extrapolates out. Now eventually, if I'm going bigger distance, I move back and take in consideration the end zones are both 15 yards, so 45 feet. This is my flippy lift. Well, I got that high enough that it's going to ride and come on back. Little nose up on that one. All right, let's try the evader. Nice and low. Let's see how it skips. Yeah, I turfed that one, literally. All right, so I've got two craves. Some of this is I want to see how some of these discs do, new and old. Yeah. Nice and straight, little flip to begin with, and then come on back. Yep. So a nice easy 320. Got a little more ride on that one. Let's see. Yeah, about the same. And see, doing this, you get base ideas of what you can do, and then from there, you know, okay, I need to juice this or I need to pull back on it. All right, Thunderbird. Drop that on hyzer, so that's not going to be the best result for that one. New destroyer I picked up in Norway. Fluffed that one too. Not a great reading. All right, let's try the trail. Pulled that a little right because he came and sat down over there. I want to keep it away from him. Let's face it, that was the one I wanted to work on the distance a little more. Those other ones were kind of just getting a feel for it. Let's go down and see how we do. Okay, so I turfed the evader, and then the resistor is sitting at about 265. And then, oh, there's the hex I forgot earlier. I knew I'd missed one, that's why I was talking about counting. And then I just kind of shanked the Thunderbird over here. So we're at 270, we're about 280 here. Everything else is in the end zone. So the line here is 300, so we're just looking at about 315 for these guys here. Just okay throws, but then my final one was back here with the trail that we're looking at about probably about 360, probably about 375. So not bad for just a good base. You can see the craves are right in line with each other, so that's a great little thing. So just a good litmus test of kind of where I'm throwing these guys, especially into the headwind right out of the car. Okay, so now I've got just a little time before I have to go get ready for Ultimate. By the way, if you want fashion accessory tips, I'm all about fashion, as you can tell. Just let me know if you want me to help you with your wardrobe, because I am sexy. Yes, sexy. But getting ready for Ultimate, but I've got enough time. We got a little tailwind. I want to throw these and give them a little more pop. Partly because my back's a little bit more warmed up, but also just to see how I'm doing right now. I'm not going to get anywhere near my max distances because I am tight like this from all the traveling, the plane rides. I didn't sleep for 2 days coming back from Norway. So some of this is just to shake off the rust, but also to see how I'm throwing right now. And just going to have fun. I'm just going to try to rip these down there, see if I can get them all into the end zone over there. I've come back from the goal line here to the end zone here, so I'm about 50 feet. So if I get it into the end zone from here, that's 350, and that's kind of what I'm aiming for. So we'll see. My longer ones like the trail or whatever, I'm trying to get the trail past 400, hopefully. But I might have to eat my words because my back feels like this, You get old and it's just, you wake up and you slept wrong. And can I get an amen from you guys out there that know what I'm talking about? It was a bad wake-up morning. These discs are so hot from sitting on this ground. I'm gonna throw the hex just to get things going. That's a pretty stable hex. Not my best throw, but it's okay. The resistor, the meat hook. Push that out there as far as I can. All right, I'm going to try to have some fun with this boss because it's super overstable. I'm going to try to do a nice S curve. Yep. Oh, yep. So I got it out back of the end zone, so that's good. An okay leopard 3. I feel like my body's got some governors on it today. I'm just not quite popping through. I feel slow motion. That should have a good ride. That's the lift. All right, pushing it out of the back of the end zone, so that was better. Thunderbird. Gotta give this a little bit of flex. Wish I got a little higher. Still gonna scoot. Oh, almost got it. All right, the evader. Need a little more anhyzer on that one. All right, destroyer. I gotta give a little flex to this one. Come on, field goal, field goal. Yep. Oh, hit that net back there, it would have gone even a little farther, but that was nice. All right, Crave, just put this right down the middle. Got a little, I thought that was gonna hold it longer. All right, other Crave. Boy, I would have liked to have gotten a little higher, but just to the middle of the end zone. And then finally, the trail. Let's get a good pull with this trail. Pull that little right, but it's gonna get a good glide back. Yep. All right, so I got some over 400, and that's what I wanted. Let's go grab them. Okay, I think if I remember right, the end zones are actually 20 yards. No, it's gotta be 15 yards. I have to do the math, checking on the distances, because I was behind the end zone another 5 or so feet, but I'll put up the distances. But I think basically to the front of the end zone is 350 and behind it is 400. So the resistor is out here. I'm at gotta do math, about 320. So yeah, it's okay. Same thing with the hex, just okay throws. But then everything else is sitting at least 350. I think, once again, I'll double check all this with my math when I get home, because I'm trying to get out of the sun. So the evader, and then the Crave that just faded off, but then everything else pushed pretty good. I got the other Crave back here, so this should be almost 400 of that if I'm right. Don't crucify me if I'm wrong. I could be off by 50 feet and I'd have to redo it. But so then you got these guys out here that are should be over 400. And then my Crave came in here. What stinks is my Destroyer, I think, hit that net and rolled all the way back. But anyway, so yeah, we're looking at, I think, about 425 to here. And that's kind of what I'm trying to see is, as I'm getting older, 400's about all I want. There was one day I had a perfect throw out here that I got 500, and that was the last time I ever saw that. And as the years have gone by that, it's just going downhill. And disc golf distance, 400 is where I want to be aiming, because I can make golf shots to 400. And that's really all I can ask for out of this body, is it's going downhill. Still pretty good. I'm not mad with that, but yeah, every once in a while I can start pushing a little bit farther. But for most of my play, I want to be thinking 400 is where it ends up, because I need to take into the account those longer throws are almost perfect throws, and I don't throw perfectly all the time. So 400 is attainable and repeatable. And so real life distance, not just how my max distance. It's like my consistent, what can I hit? Does that make sense? So anyway, that's why coming out in the field and doing this helps you get into your real life distances. But also it can be a little deceiving out here too, because like I can do a big flex line around here to get this distance, where you also want to practice just throwing straight, see how long you can get on a straight line, because that's more disc golf distance than the big flexes, because a lot of these courses, it's great when you have wide open shots, but you need to know how far you can throw on a rope. So there you go, guys. I'm sweating. I'm warmed up plenty for Ultimate, but anyway, just a good refresher time now that I've gotten back from Norway, and I thought I'd encourage you to maybe just get out and work on your distances. I love the football fields because of the lines. I have to do a little math, but other than that, it's very convenient. I can come out here, 30 minutes, an hour, and I can do a good bit of testing. And the great thing is with the video doing with you, I don't have to record anything else. I can just come record and talk about where the distances are. Then I can go back, look at the video, and write all this stuff down instead of having to have something with me writing all this stuff down. So even if you're not gonna put it on YouTube or whatever, take your phone and just talk through the distances as you walk out there, and then write them up later. So anyway, there you go, guys. I hope that encouraged you to get out there and throw a little bit more. Don't forget to have fun while you're doing it, and I hope to see you out on the course.